Okay, today we're going to be doing the same thing from what we have been doing the last day or two, which is still factoring, and this time we're doing factoring with coefficient not 1, so this is your third attempt. So here we go, number 2. I'm going to start your homework for you, and that's what we're going to go into. The very first thing we're going to do is factor. I'm going to do the regular factoring because 35 times 6 is a really big number, and I don't want to have to grab anything if I don't want to. So my smallest number up there is a 6. So I'm checking for a GCF. My factors of 6 are 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Does 6 go into any of those numbers? No. Does 3 go into any of those numbers? No. 2 does not, and neither does 1 is our GCF. So I'm going to go straight into 2 binomials. So factors of 35 are going to be 1 and 35 and 5 and 7. So what did I tell you to do previously? To use your middlemost factors. So that's 5n and 7n. Looking at the last sign, it's a negative, which means I'm going to be subtracting. So if I'm going to be subtracting, I said to again use the middlemost factors. I need to get over 37 to subtract down to it. Okay? So 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 3 is 15. 2 and 3 probably doesn't look like it's going to be big enough to get over the number 37. So I'm going to actually not do those ones, and instead I'm going to use 1 and 6. So if I go ahead and I use a 6 times 7, that gives me a 42. That's clearly over, and I can go ahead and put a 1 here. So this gives me a 42n, and outside gives me a 5n, and I need to subtract them, but I need the bigger number to be positive. So this is going to give me 5, 6, 7n, which is what I wanted, 37n, which is what I want. Yes? And I am done. So this is make that a positive 6 and that a negative 1, and there's your answer. Okay. Number 4, same exact thing with number 4. Number 4 is smallest number up there is going to be a 15. So factors of 15 are 1 and 15, 3 and 5. So I need to go ahead and say, is everything divisible by 15? No, everything is not divisible by 5, so 3 looks like it could potentially be the winner. So if I pull out a 3 out of 24, I'm going to be left with 8x squared. I pull a 42 and divide that by 3. That's going to give me a 14x, and this gives me a 5. Okay? Now, I need to go ahead and factor this into 2 binomials. And since I did the last problem the other way, I'll do it regular factoring. I'll do this problem with the x. So this gives me an 8. This gives me a 5. 8 times 5 is 40, and I need a 14. So I'm going to come over here to my lovely little factor finder. So I'm going to go ahead and put in here the number that I'm looking for, which is going to be 40. The factors of 40 are going to be 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, and 5 and 8. And I need those factors to give me a 14. So which factors are going to give me a 14? That is going to be 4 and 10. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and have a 3 here, an x plus a 10 over 8, an x plus a 4 over 8. I'm going to reduce each one of those. 5 is by 2, that gives me a 5 over 4. 5 is 1 by 2, that gives me, or by 4, that gives me a 1/2. And go ahead and put those denominators in front of the x's. Go ahead and check to make sure what we did is right. Enter gives me a 10x, outer gives me a 4x to give me a 14x, and you are done. Okay. Number 7. Number 7. Very first thing we're going to look for is the smallest number up there is 20. So that's 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. So they are all not divisible by 20 or 10 or 5. Are they all divisible by 4? The answer to that is going to be no. So are they all divisible by 2? No. So there is no GCF, which means I'm going to go ahead and break this down into 2 binomials. Factors of 20 we already have up there, so I'm going to use my middle ones, 4x and 5x. Factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. Now remember, I said to always use your middlemost factors. Well, if I put a 4 here, I'm going to have a GCF. If I put a 6 there, I'm going to have a GCF. That says you can't use those ones. So let's go to the next ones, 3 and 8. So if I put an 8 here, that gives me a GCF. So I have to put the 3 there and I have to put the 8 there. Inner gives me a 15x. Outer gives me a 32x to give me the 47x, which is what I wanted, and both signs have to be positive, so that is done. And again, we use logic skills because we understood those gave a GCF, and we couldn't use that because of the GCF rule. Okay, and the last one that I'm going to do with you guys today is going to be number 16. Number 16. Smallest number up here is 20. Factors of 20 are 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. 20 does not go into all of those. 10 does not go into all those. 5 does not go into all those. 4 does not go into all those, and neither does 2. So there is no GCF. So I'm going to go straight into 2 binomials. Factors of 20, I'm going to use my middle ones. 1 and 27 and 3 and 9. I'm going to use 3 and 9. And I'm going to think about this. If I put the 9 here in this slot, that's going to give me 45. I don't want a 45. That's really big. So I'm going to use a 15. I'm going to use a 9 here. Inner gives me 15x. Outer gives me a 36x. Now, I have to have a negative 27, which means I have to subtract these. So I have to subtract these to get a positive 21, which means my bigger number is going to be positive. So that is going to give me 15. 21 is what it's going to give me, and that is exactly what I want it to be. So that means, how did I get the 36? 4 times 9, which is a positive. 3 times 5 must be negative to give me the 15, and that is done. For those of you who prefer the other method, I'm going to go ahead and do it again, and I'm going to do the X method. This is a 20, this is a 27, this is 540, and I need a 21. Yes? So, with that said, let's go ahead and go over to our lovely little calculator here. I need 540. Those are all my factors, and I need to have 21 whenever I subtract them. 21 whenever I subtract them. Well, looky here. If I take 36 and subtract 15, that will give me 21. So I'm going to use the factors 15 and 36. So that's going to give me an x plus, an x plus. I'm going to use 36 over 20. I'm going to use 15 over 20. However, I need the bigger number to be positive and the smaller number to be negative. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to reduce these. 36 divided by 20 reduces down to give me a 9/5. This one right here is going to reduce down to give me a 3/4. Bring the denominators out in front. So 5x plus 9 and a 4x minus 3. How do I check? Inner gives me a 36x. Outer gives me a negative 15x to give me 36 minus 15, which gives you 21x, which is what you wanted. So I did that problem 2 different ways and got the exact same answer both times. Tonight's homework is to finish the 4 worksheet 3.